Hello, my name is Brett Formosa, and welcome to a Unity tutorial video series for beginners. For this series, I will go through each step with the mindset that all you've done is install Unity with no prior research or experience to make sure everyone can feel included and learn as we go. You can contact me either through the comment section down below, by visiting my personal website, or by leaving a message on my itch.io page. The links are in the description of this video. In this series, we're going to be remaking the 1973 Atari arcade game Space Race to get familiar with the Unity engine and also familiar with C# programming. I do want to stress that I am constantly learning and I don't have years worth of experience in programming, so I may have some inefficient code. Feel free to leave a comment down below on what you change in the code to make it more efficient. We are all here to learn. Let's get started. In this video, we're going to get familiar with the Unity editor. To get started, open your Unity Hub and click on New Project. In this screen, you can see the Unity version we'll be making the project in, along with the templates that are categorized on the left side of the application. By default, all templates will be selected. Space Race is a 2D game, so we can use the 2D core template for now. If you'd like a more in-depth look on the differences between each of these templates, feel free to let me know down below. On the right side of the screen, we can name our project. I will name it Space Race. You can choose the location that the project folder will be located in on your hard drive. Lastly, click Create Project and this will open the Unity editor. Once the Unity editor opens, you may feel overwhelmed with what you see. By default, there are 6 panels that are open: Hierarchy, Scene, Game, Inspector, Project, and Console. For any panel, you can right-click on the name. Here, you can see Maximize, which makes the panel the entire screen. Add Tab to add a new panel, or Close Tab. I won't go over every single thing in the editor, but I will go over the panels and items we will be using in this tutorial. If people would like, I can go over the entire Unity editor in depth. Let me know down below and I can make it happen. Hierarchy is the panel that stores all of the game objects placed in the scene you're in. You can see the scene name at the top of the hierarchy. By default, it says Sample Scene. The only game object currently in this scene is the main camera, which you can see here. The arrow beside the sample scene is a list of what objects are in the scene object. If it's pointing down, it is showing all objects in that scene. If it is pointing at the name, then it is hiding all of the objects inside the scene. This also applies to all game objects. Everything can be a parent, or the main object, or a child, the object inside, of anything similar to how the main camera is a child of the sample scene parent object here. Next is the Scene panel. In this panel, you can construct the scene. You'll be spending a majority of your time looking at this panel, as it's the only panel where you can interact with the objects in the scene you're in. For example, if you left-click on the camera icon, it will select the main camera. From here, you can mouse over the left side of the panel and you can use the Move tool to move the object, Rotate tool to rotate the object, Scale tool to increase or decrease the object size. I'll go over the Rect tool later in this video series. The View tool and the Transform tool I'm going to skip in this tutorial. There are keyboard shortcuts for the tools as well. View tool is Q, Move tool is W, Rotate tool is E, Scale tool is R, Rect tool is T, and the Transform tool is Y. I will be using those shortcuts throughout this video. but if you need to pause or slow the video down to use the buttons on the screen, that's perfectly fine as well. The next panel, Game, shows what the player will see when they play the game. This, for example, is showing what the main camera is seeing from the scene panel. You can change the view from Game to Simulator, which can simulate what the game would look like on various objects. We will keep it on Game for this project. Where it says Free Aspect, that just shows the game view from whatever resolution and aspect ratio the panel is currently in. One way we can see a better visualization on what we are looking at is by changing the aspect ratio to a fixed resolution. One that I personally like using is the Full HD, as most computer screens are at least 1080p, but you can also change to your own fixed ratio by clicking the plus and inputting the details. Scale is a slider where you can zoom in the game scene if you'd like without having to change the resolution. Later on, feel free to play with the setting to see the difference when you have multiple things on screen. As a side note, you can view what any camera sees in the scene panel by clicking on the camera and looking at the bottom right. This window shows what the selected camera is viewing. The next tab has Play Focused, Play Maximized, and Play Unfocused. These refer to when you hit the play button in the top middle of the Unity editor, and I will go over those in more detail later. The rest are unneeded in this tutorial, and I will skip over them for now. The next panel is the Inspector panel. I won't go into too much detail as there can be an hour-long plus video on everything just in the Inspector panel, but it is another panel that you'll be spending a lot of your time on. If you click on the main camera object, for example, you can see what is called components that are attached to the game object and what makes the game object work. Using this as an example, you can see that there are 3 components that make up the main camera game object as well as some additional information up top. The box dropdown is a gizmo. We won't go too much into that in this video. The checkbox is the game object's visibility. If unchecked, that object will still be in the scene, but it won't render or be considered active. When it's not active, you can see in the hierarchy that the name is gray instead of white. When it is checked, it is rendered and active in the scene. Where it says main camera in the input field, that is the name of the game object. Simply clicking it and typing in a new name will alter the name of the object in the hierarchy. We won't be getting into the static checkbox in the series. The same will be said for the drop-down menu beside it and the 3-dot menu right above that. The lock right above static, however, just locks the inspector. Clicking on another game object when the inspector is locked will not show its properties in the inspector until you unlock the inspector. To get into the components of the main camera, there's the transform component, which shows the position, rotation, and scale of the object in the scene. The camera component we will be looking briefly at a later time in this series, but altering any of these settings can change how the camera works. The audio listener component is where the audio will be transmitting to. It won't have too much of an effect on this project, but it can be used along with audio source components on other game objects to use surround sound effects with your audio to more immerse your player. The Add Component button, when clicked, gives you a drop down of all of the components that are available in the Unity editor. The checkboxes in front of Camera and Audio Listener are similar to the visibility checkbox for the game object. It is simply turning off or deactivating the component for the game object. The project panel shows the folders that make up the Unity project and is where your assets that you can use will be found. You can create a new asset by clicking the plus drop-down menu. Assets from this panel can be dragged and dropped into the scene panel. We'll be using this feature a few times. Lastly, the console panel will be where you will get your printed messages, errors, or warnings that Unity will be showing you when you hit play. Clear clears all of the messages. Collapse will collapse all of the same messages together to make it easier to read different messages. The others we won't be discussing but are used for other debugging purposes. As I stated earlier, if you're curious about anything in the Unity editor that I may have gone over briefly or haven't touched at all, feel free to leave a comment and I will respond with a reply to your comment, or if enough people ask, I can go more in depth with anything here in a later video. This has been a rather information-packed video, so I'll let you decompress and say you've finished the first one. For the next video, we will go about creating a moving player. Good job on making it this far, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.